Today we're going to talk about athletic prisons. We're going to talk about the way that we imprison ourselves in our own thinking, in our own thoughts. And I guess in a way, most of us are living in prisons formed by our own interpretations of the work we do or the work that we don't do. I mean, when we stand in judgment of our sessions, we tend to disassociate from them, don't we? And I think we need, as athletes, to be a little bit more like an investigator investigating a case, where we're kind of looking for clues, you know, using our intuitive nous to navigate the territory and to promote our adaptation, not our dysfunction, not constantly looking at what we can't do, not constantly looking at what we don't get right, not constantly measuring it against something else on the outside. So it's just about coming home to ourselves. So now I feel like the problem is we get our interpretations mixed up with judgment. And when we do that, we often miss what is by looking too hard at what isn't, you know. And when we look too hard at what we're lacking and stop paying attention to the areas that we're growing in, we get trouble. We start to plateau. We start to go backwards, so to speak, because of course you're focusing on what you don't want. So, you know, let's just use my athletic case for a case. I mean, it's my left hip's a little rotated. It's always been rotated. And I could make that a deal breaker. You know what I mean? I mean, by making it wrong or interpreting it the wrong way, or worse, I could allow someone else to tell me that it won't work when I know in my own gut and heart that it does work and that it's just part of my makeup. And that by having surgery to change it, it's not going to change. So I have to work with the thing. I have to get into flow with it. I have to bring some sync to it. No point in working against it. No point in interpreting it the wrong way, judging it, because perfection doesn't exist. And when we make the wrong assumptions and interpret the incoming information with too much judgment, we imprison ourselves in doubt. That's what we do as athletes. You know, our thoughts become not about what we could do, but about what we think we can't do. And then we start measuring it against others who don't have the same problems. And we can't possibly do that because we're not them. So it is a prison in a way. And athleticism is it's as much a spiritual experience as it is a physical one. And you can ask any athlete who's gone deeply into the well, and they can tell you all about it, right? It's something deeper. And you have to feel your way through that kind of deep, painful experience. And the head just isn't strong enough because it'll waver and it'll falter. So this mental toughness aspect that we always talk about is bound up in our ability to stay out of judgment, to stay out of the interpretation, and to simply stay where we are and be present. And the judgmental mind and its interpretation flattens everything we experience with a tag or with a label. It takes the richness out of it. It robs the understanding of the known, and it just leaves us with the known, which takes away the color and the vibrancy. We don't learn anything from it. We don't understand anything about it. So we don't develop in our athletic progress. We stall. And we never talk about this stuff. We never talk about these soft skills. Now, understanding means that you're present with what is in that session or that race. You're not separate from it. You know, you're leaving the interpretation alone for the time that you're in this process. Nothing, and I mean nothing, can give you as much teaching as a moment surrounded by your full presence and your attention. And athletically, that's critical, you know, and that's what most coaches are trying to impart to you. And that's the lesson that needs to be taken on board. So don't imprison your training with your own judgmental interpretation of what is happening. Leave the thing alone. Otherwise, apathy will ride the wash of every session you do, and it'll exhaust you with its boredom. That's right. It becomes flat. It becomes boring because there's a tag and a label. You take something that's 3D, 4D, 5D, and you turn it 2D, right? That's what it does. You're taking all the pop out of it, all the color, all the existential richness of the thing. So if you want true presence in training, just leave the interpretation and the judgment post-session. Or do it at the end of the week, or do it with your coach or someone who can support your level of presence, even while you're interpreting and judging the data and what you could do better in it. Because when you do better, you're turning up for yourself. That's the bottom line. You're taking responsibility for it. You're being fully present with the process. And I know I keep saying this, and it's often not completely heard in the full context of the athletic journey, but it's a critical aspect of this journey and one that I keep bringing. So just be fully present, leave the interpretation alone, leave the judgment alone, and experience the richness of your own athletic journey. Thanks for listening.